And welcome to the debate for the first selectman of Beacon Falls. I'm from Beacon Falls. There you go.
Oh my God.
You know where I'm from. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the debate for first selectman of Seymour between Theresa Conroy and Annmarie Drugonis. Before we begin, let's have the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to introduce the two candidates with us this evening. The incumbent first selectman, Annmarie Drugonis. And incumbent selectman, Theresa Conroy. The fire marshal has asked us no standing in the aisles, and please look for the exit signs, God forbid there's any type of emergency. We are going to have questions asked this evening by the debate club. We thank Erin Scotsafava for her assistance formulating the questions. We were just in the library looking at the questions for this evening. We're going to have, the students are going to keep the time in that. We're going to start with opening statements from both candidates, and then we're going to have the questions. We have already decided by a coin flip that Theresa will give the opening statement first, and First Selectman Drugonis will do the concluding statement first. And with that, we will start with Theresa. Opening statement, please.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Seymour High School debate team for hosting this event, and the Honorable Jack Betkoski for being our moderator, along with our debate coordinators. And thank you, Annmarie, for accepting this debate. I think we're going to have a good conversation tonight for all the residents that are here, and thank you. As you know, I'm Theresa Conroy. I've lived in Seymour my whole life. I grew up here, I raised my family here, and I volunteered countless hours to give back to this town to make it a better town. My family's been here now for 7 generations, so I'm invested in this. I have some little kids running around right now that I look at them and I want a better future in this town than we have right now. I know where Seymour's been, I know where we are at right now, but I just know our next chapter of Seymour can be so much better. We need to be focusing on our finances, make sure that they're stable. We need to have smart economic development in this town that's going to fit into what the needs of our town are. We need to have recreation opportunities for everyone. I'm a nurse practitioner. I chose that profession. I served people, and now I want to serve my community and give back to my town, just as I have done for veterans at the VA hospital. So tonight, you're going to hear a discussion between myself and Annmarie. And at the end of that, I hope you'll be able to have a more informed decision when we go for early voting, which has already started, or on November 4th next week. I hope that you will see who I am, get to know me better, and I'm sure the questions that these students have come up with will be very enlightening for all of us. None of us up here know what the questions are, so bear with us. I'm so glad that everyone is out here. There's a lot of excitement on Facebook, and thank you for being here tonight.
First Selectman Drugonis.
Thank you. Thank you to the debate team for hosting this. Thank you to Seymour Middle School for allowing us to do this here. Over the past 5 years, I've been the first selectman for the town of Seymour, and there's nothing I've been more prouder of than doing that job, besides being Alana's mom. When I took this position, I knew I would give it my hardest. I told the people in town that I would work, I would do what's right for Seymour, and I would put Seymour first, and that is what I've done. This job's not a 9-to-5 job, it's a 24/7 job, which I'm proud of, and I would do it over and over again. Through the 5 years, we've had 30 new companies come into town. We've had companies reinvest in them. Thule, Emery Scale brought their corporate office here. Haynes has developed some. Stop and Shop Sabos Auto Body, to name a few. But not only are they reinvesting in themselves, we are investing in Seymour. We have opened up 24 requests for proposals, infrastructures for our town, investing in our assets, our buildings, including our biggest assets, which are our children, investing in their schools. But not just investing in our roads, not just people investing in us, business investing in us. We've also made our parks better. We opened an All Abilities Park. We've had the Chatfield Park, where it has new swings. We put in a George Street Park. We've included in. We have a lot to do here still. We have a strong financial backing right now. Our finances are strong. We have a new finance director. We just ask that you continue to look at where Seymour can be, continue to invest in us. Thank you.
Thank you, First Selectman Drugonis. And I should have said this at the beginning. I have been friends with both of the candidates for a very long time, and I'm honored to be here. So with that, we're going to start with the questions from the debate club. And the way we're going to do this is there will be 6 alternating questions. As I said already, it was decided by the flip of a coin. And then there'll be a 2-minute response to the question from the first candidate, and then the rebuttal for 1 minute by the candidate 2. So with that,
Good evening. My name is Jeremy. The first question I ask tonight is, how will you make sure that residents who work long hours or have families can easily participate and stay informed in town decisions?
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, a lot of people in this town do work long hours. I was a nurse practitioner, I was a nurse, so I know what those 12-hour shifts are like. I know what's doing night shifts or, sleeping during the day. We need to make sure that we are getting that information out there. Right now, I know that the First Selectman woman currently uses a lot of the Facebook, but I have also noticed in this past week the divisiveness that Facebook can bring to us. That's not who I am. I want to get the information out there. I think, email blasts, we get them from our doctors, we get them from Macy's. We need to be people can sign up for these things. We can do that. And as far as when you're saying, people work 24 or during the day or they come out later, we need to have more recreation opportunities too for them. Our community center pretty much closes down in the evening. Our fitness center right there closes at 4:15. I take advantage of that right now. During the day, I go to the personal trainer. So if anybody wanted to comment that I'm looking good, it's because of the community center that we're doing. But I'd love to see that program expanded in the evening hours so that people, when they get out of work, they have that opportunity also. So there's a lot of ways we can start working on getting that communication out there. Like I said, Facebook is one way. I don't like the divisiveness. I think a lot of times comments should be cut off on that. But emails, having more of a website with the accurate information coming up there every day, I think that would be helpful to our residents. Thank you, Jeremy.
First Selectman Drugonis.
Thank you. As everybody knows, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok. We live in an electronic world nowadays. We utilize what's happening in the 888 to give the monthly and weekly updates, what's happening in town, what's happening in our meetings. We have the minutes up online. We have voices in our newspaper that we use as well. I'm always available. Anytime something's happening, we put it out on Facebook. From our Facebook page, as I said before, we go to our Instagram page. We go to our TikTok page. So there are ways that we get the information out there, and we'll continue looking at new ways. Another way that I'm looking at doing that is sending out the weekly blast through our code red. Thank you.
Anything further?
If I have just one rebuttal, I believe if I'm First Selectman, I love the idea of the 888, but I grew up in this town, and we had the 888 in one section, but the Great Hills section was like a 734, 735 number. I think maybe we can make it all inclusive and maybe just make it the 06483, and we'll all be in there.
First Selectman.
888-734-475. Does it matter on the area code? Maybe we'll change it to, hey, what's happening in Seymour?
Thank you very much. Next question. Second. Wait, whoa.
There you go.
I'm William, and I'd like to ask, what specific changes or improvements do you aim to achieve by the end of your term?
That goes to you.
Okay, sure. I thought it was a second, I go second this time. Sure, so my biggest priority right now is smart economic development. We're having the back of the taxpayers in this town, about 90% of our taxes are funding this whole town. We need to get economic development in here to offset that. Not only just to offset that, but we need to have some businesses here. Let's face it, we have to drive out of Seymour all the time. Smart economic development that's going to fit into our community is what we need. And we have some very potential sites out there. We keep looking at the Housatonic Wire and Seymour Lumber site. We've had, people coming in and saying storage units, gas stations. I'd like to work with developers and try to bring people in that we want. I worked as a state representative to try to have a mixed-use development there. We have beautiful waterfalls between that to make it a park-like structure in between. Tri-Town Plaza's been stagnant for 20 years. We all know the stories. We haven't seen any articles in the paper this time around, but I am more than willing to sit down and work with the owners of that property to get that site developed before we had at least a movie theater that we could go to. Now we don't. The biggest draw for us pretty much up there is if you go up for the Dunkin' Donuts. So economic development is my #1 priority. I also want to help the seniors. And recently we did have an ordinance hearing for senior tax abatement. We need to do something for seniors, but we also need to have some fiscal responsibility. There's been no policy insight into what that impact will do to our budget, because if you take away from here, somebody's got to pay for it. So we either need to get that economic development in here, or it's going to be on the backs of other residents, and that's not the way I'm going to govern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Theresa Conroy.
Thank you. Economic development, Tri-Town Plaza, taxes, those are all big words that we hear every single day of our life. We just had our assessment, our reevaluation done. What am I going to do? I'm working with our developers. I'm working with Haynes. I am working with the businesses that want to go into Tri-Town Plaza. That is currently put on hold according to the 3 businesses that I spoke to. Taxes in the town of Seymour are getting there, but those are because of the unfunded state mandates that are pushed down on us, and this assessment that should have been done 4 years, when it should have been done 5. We are looking at tax incentives for our tax reliefs for our seniors as well. Thank you.
Anything further?
Thank you. Yes, we just did have revaluation done, and it grew our grand list about 34%. And with math, I've learned it's a number, and we can always play with numbers and put it wherever you want. So it wasn't that our grand list truly grew because of businesses coming in. It was because of reval. And I know Annmarie just talked about unfunded state mandates, and we hear those as talking points a lot of times, and they'll usually return that back to the school level. But recently, this past year, the state passed exemption for veterans. And now the town of Seymour, and I probably served and love veterans more than most people in this room, I think it's a wonderful thing. However, our exemptions in this town of Seymour for property taxes went up $11 million. Now that's $11 million off our grand list right off the top. So we need to make sure when we're talking about unfunded mandates, it's not just for education. They come down, but I know there's a few people in this room that have really been benefiting from some of these unfunded mandates, as I said, with the veterans. Thank you very much.
First Selectman.
Thank you. We just had a new business come in, Newport Academy, one of the nation's biggest mental health facilities, so that will be adding to our grand list, as well as some other businesses. So while I understand what my opponent is saying is that the grand list didn't really truly grow because of the assessment, we do have new businesses coming in that is growing our grand list.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, I'm Cecilia, and my question is, what is your strategy for attracting new businesses while also supporting the survival of existing small, locally owned businesses?
First Selectwoman Drugonis.
Thank you. The question is, what are we doing to attract new businesses, right? We have a tax incentive plan to attract new businesses that come in. What are we doing to help? The question was, what are we doing to help the ugly businesses? I don't believe we have any ugly businesses in town. Maybe I didn't hear you correctly. Small businesses, I'm sorry, small businesses, I apologize, sorry, I'm like ugly businesses. Small businesses. We do Small Business Wednesday. That is something that I started 2 years ago, and that is highlighting every small business that we have in town. And when I do the small businesses, I hear, oh, I didn't know we had that business in town. Oh, that increased our businesses. So by highlighting our small businesses every Wednesday, that shows the people in Seymour what businesses we have for the small businesses. As far as big businesses, we have our tax incentives that we work with them to do. Right now, it's just on businesses, but we're hoping to look to expand that as well.
Thank you very much. Selectwoman Conroy.
Okay, so to attract new businesses, we first have to take some first steps. We have no economic development director in this town. We did have someone that was a contract for $50,000 a year for the last several years, and before that, another part-time economic development director. Last December, I believe, the contract wasn't renewed, and as of now, Annmarie and Kurt Miller are filling in that role for economic development. Looking at the Economic Development Commission, who are supposed to be out there and promoting our economic development, it's only met 3 out of the last 12 months. So we don't even have the basic structures going on in this town right now. When I become the first Selectwoman, my plan is right off from day one is to start with our economic development, have plans in place. We need to have that strategic plan. Without that, we have no roadmap and we're just floundering out here. And I think every one of you can see that when you look at the businesses that we have in town.
Thank you. First Selectwoman Drugonis.
Thank you. I don't know what my opponent is speaking about with strategic plan. We have our committee members, the department heads come in every month and it's reported on when they come in, and our quarterly report is given to us, at the strategic plan is given to us and reported to us by the department heads. That's part of our strategic plan. I agree, we had a part-time economic developer, and the last economic development manager that was here, we've got over $16 million in grants that have helped businesses and helped put our roads together. So we are working on our economic development. I meet with Dan O'Keefe, who's the economic director for the state of Connecticut. We have monthly meetings on helping new businesses come in. There's one looking at coming in on Derby Avenue, as well as behind Stop and Shop with Tom Haynes. So we do have an economic development plan in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, my name is Marley, and my question is, the Tri-Town Plaza has been empty for years. Additionally, a Halloween store downtown recently closed. How will you both attract, and more specifically, retain new development in the town?
First Selectwoman Drugonis.
Tri-Town has been empty for years, 25 years to be exact, it has been emptied. And in 2009, I believe, we decided that he was going to receive an abatement. And he promised in 2010, once he received that abatement, that he was going to build. And here we are in 2025, and he's done nothing. I've been the only first select woman that has actually stood his ground with him and made him fix his unsafe buildings and do what he needed to do to ensure that the workers that worked up there in those buildings were safe and that he took his blighted building down. So we're working with businesses that want to go into Tri-Town. Halloween Dungeon did go out of business, and that was something with their landlord. We can't control the landlords, but we can control giving money and helping small businesses to stay here, as well as attracting big businesses.
Thank you very much. Selectwoman Conroy.
Thank you. To your first part of the question was about Tri-Town Plaza. I remember when it used to have a grocery store there and a department store. I mean, we're talking Kings and Stop and Save back in the day. And it was a part of our town that people could go to, and we didn't have to travel everywhere to go get things. Tri-Town Plaza, as I said earlier, has been a thorn for quite a while on everyone's side. I've spoken with Ron Spector, who manages that property. He tells me that he has not had any communication with the First Selectwoman's office for several years. It goes through different people if he's going to be speaking with them. There's still, I believe, a lawsuit out there that stemmed off of the blight lawsuit. It's a secondary one that's not resolved yet. And until we can come to some kind of conclusion with that, Tri-Town will stay as it is. And as far as downtown businesses, downtown business people stop and see me at my house that I don't even know and say, we need to do something about downtown. We have no communication going between the stores, none from the town hall. What's going on? So I plan on opening up those channels of communication.
Thank you very much. First Selectwoman Drugonis.
I have email correspondence going back with Tri-Town Plaza, back and forth, and with his attorneys. I've talked to the businesses that actually want to go in there. They've come into my office. As far as the businesses in the downtown, I walk the downtown weekly, and I meet with them individually and have discussions with them.
Thank you very much. Anything further?
I'm good.
Great. Next question.
My next question is, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the town in any way you wanted, what would you do with that money and why?
I guess that question is to me. A $1 million grant sounds like a lot. It sounds like $1 million. However, we also hear it to do like 1 mile of road is going to be $1 million or so. So it's not going to go very far. My first thought was to put it into the roads. And my second part is I want a healthier Seymour. And I've said that before as a nurse practitioner. I see the food needs in this town. Families are struggling. I see the health rates, our obesity. You know, I was just recently obese, and I've been on this fitness path to try to get myself healthier. I'd love to see more outdoor gym equipment for adults. That's been, done in Florida, and it's done in Boston, where you're on a walking track and you have this other equipment that you can be using. We need to start doing more nutritional programs, so I would probably put it right into some health initiatives for this town, because we're all going to be better if we're all healthier. And let's try to keep Seymour where we're supposed to be going on the right path. Let's get those trails out there, maybe open up some more of those. I know the Conservation Commission, they actually don't have a budget at all, and they do it on their own. But let's try to get them some money so they can clear our trails and make better trails, so the families can get out there and enjoy the recreation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First up to Drugonis.
$1 million. As my opponent said, $1 million does not really go that far. It would definitely go into the roads. We would put money into our roads, but as we've done 13 miles of roads alone in the last 2 years, Holbrook, Bungay, Botsford. So we're working on our roads, and that's a major thing that we're doing. Where else we would put the $1 million? My opponent mentioned outside fitnesses. We are working at our community center by putting the outside trail over there now. So we would look at investing into our town with the roads, putting in for stuff for our younger generation to do as well. Maybe being able to buy a piece of property so that the kids can go out there and ride their quads on, so they're not ruining the other parks out there.
Selectwoman Conroy.
As the first selectwoman said, roads, it's not going to go very far. We need a lot more money to get our roads done, and we need to have a much better plan than what we're doing right now.
Thank you. Anything further? Next question.
Hi, my name is Ariel. Seymour residents, like many other Americans and Connecticut residents, are facing increasing costs of living and taxes. How do you plan to mitigate these issues and make them more affordable to live in Seymour?
First Selectwoman.
Thank you. Great question. It is expensive to live anywhere in the United States right now, especially Connecticut. Connecticut is very expensive to live in, and we're one of the highest tax states. How are we going to help it in Seymour? By driving in new businesses, bringing in new businesses to help grow our grand list. And economic development and bringing those in are just not commercial. Those are also residential areas. It's about smart building, and it's about putting the houses and the businesses where they fit.
Selectwoman Conroy.
Thank you. Yeah, cost of living, I think we all feel it. People say I'm a senior, and I am, and I'm on a fixed income. But I also say any family is pretty much on a fixed income because you get a paycheck, and that's your fixed income. We have to work off of it. When we went through reval this year, our mill rate went down to 27.72. I believe we could have dropped that down a couple of more mills. We're looking at giving tax incentives, as the first selectwoman said, and expanding it to apartments. I've been doing my research on that. I'm just not in favor of it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no other towns in this state that are giving a developer who's going to be making a lot of money a tax incentive. Yes, they get them if there's going to be affordable housing in there, but not just an apartment building. That money is going to come off of the rest of us. So when we start thinking about giving tax assessments for a developer to come in, that's just going to make profit, it's going to affect us, and you have to be wise and do your research on all of this.
Thank you, Selectman Conroy. First Selectman Drugonis.
Thank you. Tax incentives for residents is done in many, many towns, as we saw with the tax incentive plans that were brought to the Tax Incentive Committee. Taxes in Seymour, our mill rate should have went down. My opponent is correct that the taxes in the mill rate should have went down more, but with the way the state of Connecticut has decided to do our car taxes instead of the Kelly Blue Book, we do the MSRP value. That alone lost the town in $1.2 million in car tax revenues, and that is why we were not able to lower our revenues, or lower our mill rate low enough. The town budget was less than 1% increase in this market, in this year's budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
I would just say, when we're looking at this, times are tough, and when times get tough, you have to tighten up your belts. We added some new positions in our town budget this year. I was not in favor of that. Sometimes it's just fluff that, we're paying out on that. When you're talking about the cost of living and taxes being high, we need to be, as leaders, we need to be in tune with every resident out there and what they can afford, and make sure that the tax money you're giving us, you're getting a return on your investment, and that you're going to see it in your community.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. My question for you is, can you identify one area of the town budget that you believe is overspending and one area that needs more funding?
Well, that's a good one. What needs more funding? I'm probably I don't see any children in the room. I always think back to when my mother was on the Board of Education, and we're talking 40 years ago, and she would always talk about this MER and the minimum education requirement, and that we're never meeting it in this town. I think education is where we need to put money. It's priority for our children. Some people say, well, you know what, I'm a senior, I don't have kids in school. I don't have kids in school, but it's an investment. Someone invested in me. And when I look out here at the different people that grew up in this town, I came through here, I became a nurse practitioner, I gave back to my community. I see others out here that are attorneys. They went back off to school, came back, and they're serving their communities. So every dollar that we put into education, I believe, is well returned back to us. As far as where we can cut the budget, that's something that I think would have to be strategically done. And I'm just going to say right up front, I can't give you an answer to that. But on day one, when I get into office, and I say that or preface it, that's something I'm going to do with the department heads, is go through their budgets, because no one knows the ins and outs of that more than them, and they need to be accountable for every dollar that they're spending of your money.
Thank you very much. First Selectman Drugonis.
An area that's over budgeted or has too much money, I would say we don't really. The town of Seymour works on a very thin line. All our departments. We meet every January to go over budgets and where we can cut, and our guys work it very close, from Public Works to our police department. So where we're overspending, we look at that every single month actually to see what is being done. One place we would give more money to, I would love to say we would give more money to the Board of Ed, but we really need to put more money into the Public Works, because that's where we need to maintain our roads as well. Thank you.
Selectman Conroy? No? Okay. Next question.
Hi, my name is Anuya, and my question for you is, on October 9th, the Zoning Commission rejected a proposal to build new multifamily housing in the Moss Avenue Maple Street area. Do you support this decision? And if not, what is your plan to improve the availability of housing in Seymour?
That one's mine, right? Excuse me, sir. Do I support the Moss Ave and Maple Street? I did not speak on that one at all. We do need more housing in Seymour, absolutely. Is that the right place for it? Possibly not, right? Not for the units that they want to put in there. But we do need more housing in Seymour, and we need the housing to be smart housing. Whether it's affordable, market, or single homes, we do need the housing because there is a housing crisis in the state of Connecticut and in Seymour as well.
Thank you for that question. Yes, the Moss Avenue zoning issue for the change from R40, I believe, to multifamily, I was strongly opposed to. I was so strongly opposed to it that actually a resident from the area contacted me and said, what can we do? And I went out in that neighborhood and I walked around with a petition because that's how strongly I felt that Moss Avenue and Maple Street could not handle 88 units going in there. It was turned down, which I'm glad for. We do need affordable housing. We need housing in Seymour, but we need to do it strategically. And I'm going to keep coming back to that word. We need to have plans in place. We don't need a developer to come into Seymour and tell us where they want the zoning to be changed. We need to have that zoning all set out in our town. We need a plan, a master plan of where we're going. And I think once we get that, we can start addressing our more affordable housing. We're only at about 4.6 for the state. We need to get to 10%, but let's plan it strategically. Let's have P&Z, livable communities, and all the other stakeholders come to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. She was going to have me get the cane here, so First Selectman Drugonis.
Thank you. We have an affordable housing plan that is also part of our conservation plan. And I believe in smart housing, I believe in smart development, and we need it. It's putting it the right place at the right time. And Theresa did come out and speak about it. I think you actually handed in a petition for it.
Anything further? All set? Good. Thank you. Next question.
Okay, so how will you make sure grants and outside funding are used effectively to improve roads, schools, and other public facilities?
Okay.
Selectman Conroy.
Great. So first of all, we don't really have I don't believe a full-time grant writer in the town. And that is something we need to do from day one. We need to identify at least 5 grants to go right out there. There's money out there. When I became state representative, and I was new in politics, no matter what people say I'm a career politician, I knew nothing about politics. I knew nothing about bonding. I got to Hartford and all of my colleagues were getting all this bonding money, and I said, what is this? I quickly found out that you have to go and work for this. And I was there working for it. So when people say, oh, you got a football field, listen, $1.8 million, 10 years before that, you weren't getting a dime of that in Seymour. I went out there and I fought for it because I said, if we're sending our tax money to Hartford, I want it back in here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there aggressively to get tax grant money into our town. So we're not double paying taxes, because when we have to do a project, we were cited for that football field, for ADA compliance and other things that we had to remedy. If I didn't get that money, it would have been on the town of Seymour to come up with that and make those improvements. That would have been double taxation if you want to look at it, because we already sent the money to Hartford and now you're not getting it. I'm a fighter. I don't back down. I would go over to the governor's office monthly and they would say, Conroy, you got it, you got it. It's like, I just want to make sure. So when I say I go after things, I'm determination. I got that Irish spirit in me, and I can use a little bit of charm to get it. I know how to do it, and I'll be out there fighting for all of us. For whatever reasons we need, I will fight for that grant money, because it's only going to help us from not having to pay it from our pockets right now.
Thank you. First Selectman Drugonis.
Thank you. The town of Seymour does have a full-time grant operator. We have received over $16 million in grants this year alone. We applied for the SIF grants. That is how our community center was upgraded. That is how our police department was upgraded. That is how we got some of the air conditioning and heating work done at the town hall. So we are out there applying for every single grant that we could, including the open trails for the Conservation Commission. Any grant that is out there, we're applying for it. Again, $16 million in grants in a year. That's pretty good.
Well, I'm glad to hear we have a full-time grant writer, because I heard that we didn't, and that was part of the Economic Development Director's job, was to get some of that grant money. So that's a good thing to hear. I just think we can be getting much more grant money into this town that we're not taking the full resources of. I know that we did get grant money recently for the old Robles building. It was $680,000 from the state for grant money for that project to get remedied. The only problem was the owner of the site did not want to sell the property. So the resources of the town that went into writing a grant, and then for OPM or whoever in Hartford to approve this grant, that was all for naught. Why did we do that? When we maybe didn't even approach the owner and say, do you want to sell this to Seymour? So that was just another lost opportunity, and I hope the state of Connecticut, the next time we're looking for grants, won't look at us negatively because of that missed opportunity that we had.
First Selectwoman Drugonis.
Thank you. The $680,000 grant, $80,000 grant that my opponent just spoke about for Robles, we still have it, and we do not have to, he did not have to sell us the building. We are still using it for that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
How would you respond to a senior citizen of Seymour who tells you they can no longer afford any more tax increases on their fixed income?
First Selectman.
Oh, thank you. That's a great question because I hear it almost every day when I speak to the citizens and when I go to the community center. It is tough out there, not just for our seniors, but it's tough out there for the middle class family. Taxation is awful here in Connecticut itself. We have the circuit breaker program that the state of Connecticut used to fund and now they no longer fund it, so it's an unfunded mandate. We have renter rebate incomes, and we have the senior level, all based on income driven. We are working with our seniors now. We're working on a tax incentive plan with the tax incentive committee that my opponent is on with me to help the seniors and to see what we can do for them without putting the rest of the burden on those that are under the age of 65.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, for the seniors, you know, these people, I'm one of these people, they have raised their families in this town, have given back to the town, and we want them to be able to remain in the town and the homes that they built. And it's not easy in these days. You know, we went through reval this year. My property taxes, I didn't get hit because I've been getting it the last few years after some improvements. My son's went up $1,200. I have retired teachers telling me it's gone up $1,200. Some people tell me $2,000. That's unheard of. That's not because of reval. That's because of the poor planning in our town. We gave a senior break, you know, in our budget for $50,000 we have budgeted for those on needs assessment. We went up to $60,000, $10,000. Big deal. We're talking about giving apartment building developers thousands of dollars off, and yet we can't help our own that are most in need here. I'm in favor of the homestead exemption. We need to look at that, but as I said, it's got to be smart fiscal planning. We can't just put these things out there and it magically happens, because it's going to affect all of us.
First Selectman.
Thank you. The values of our homes have gone up. That is proven through the market rate. So when the value of your homes go up, your taxes go up. We are doing everything in Seymour and will continue to do everything in Seymour to keep the taxes low. The reevaluation was caused by the state of Connecticut having us do it. We went to them and we said, we're in year 4. We just had it done in 2000, and the governor said, no, let's do it in 2004 instead of 2005. Would a year made a difference? Yes, it would have made a difference. But housing prices continue to go up. The values of homes in Seymour are going up because of living in Seymour and people wanting to move to Seymour. We see it everywhere. There is no inventory or very low inventory of homes in Seymour. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything
I
further?
get the prices of the homes have gone up. I get that. But I also get that it's a bottom line number of taxes. So you can say the housing went however how you want it to go. We're still paying a tax. It's going somewhere. So we need to make sure that we're really using that money and giving people what they want in this town, a return on their investment. So if my house went up to $1 million and my taxes went up, where's that money going from? It just sounds like number game and shell games to me. So we need to be fiscally prudent with all of your tax dollars.
Thank you. Next question.
What is your vision for the local school system, and how will you balance education funding with other town priorities?
First Selectman.
What is my vision for the local school? As you know, we just passed the new Bungay School building, so we can't wait to see that being built. Funding for the schools and balancing for the town. I meet monthly with Dr. Compton. We talk about our budgets, we talk about whatever has to go down, and then when we start our budget in January, we sit down with our summit and we discuss what her needs are. Dr. Compton will tell me what her needs are when we go to the summit, and we come up with a number, and that's my proposed number in my budget. From there, it goes to the Board of Finance, and then ultimately, it goes to the people of Seymour to vote on the budget itself, to see if we fund it enough.
Selectman Conroy?
Thank you. Yes, yay for all the Bungay School parents, especially for the Bungay School Alliance. They did an absolutely phenomenal job, and that just shows you what the power of grassroots can do in this community. And people banded together for the school. It was long due, overdue. But Bungay School, you know, someone approached me about this early on before it even got to where we are now, and was talking about the Plane Tree model at Griffin Hospital and how there were talks about using that as the first educational opportunity. And then there's no funding. And I said, no funding. Listen, Ray Dalio is like one of the biggest hedge fund guys out there with billions of dollars, who lives in this state, who gives money to education. Let's go to him. Let's pitch this. So I have a vision for our town and for our students. Let's make Bungay School like someplace that's not everyone, how they come to Griffin Hospital all over the country to look at that hospital. Let's make them come to Seymour and see what we're doing with our Seymour schools.
Thank you. First Selectman?
I agree that we need to do for the plan tree, but I think when we build this school, we have to make sure that we stay within that budget and look for other ways to fund the plan tree vision, because I love the plan tree vision, but that can't come out of the taxpayers. There are ways that we can get that money donated to us, either through grants or through donations, to have what every child needs there.
Thank you. Anything further?
No, in the education system, I think they're great here. I'm a product of the Seymour education system, and it's taken me a long way on my journey to where I am today. So I'm thankful for everyone that invested in me back in the day. I'd love to see some more cooperative programs out there between the school children and our seniors. I recently heard from a senior that took a tour of the high school, and they were absolutely blown away by the programs that are going on in there. I think that's key. I think seniors need to go up there, take a tour, see where the tax dollars are going. So maybe next time around they go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go fill in that bubble and vote yes for that school education budget.
Thank you. Next question.
If faced with a budget shortfall, would you protect education funding or make cuts for other priorities? Why?
Education funding is probably not where we can cut it. We don't have a lot of room to be able to cut education funding in this town. We're just, above where we need to be, and once we dip below that, we get penalized by the state. I think it's $2 or $1 for every $2. There's a formula out there. So that's not the place to cut it. I think we need to look at every position in this town and sit down with the person and find out what they're really doing, because I don't think that all of our employees are doing the full job. We don't have performance measures. There's a lot of things we can be doing with performance measures, looking at the structural changes of how people do their job. When I hear that someone's job, they can only meet 75% of it, okay, if we're only doing 75%, what's going wrong? Let's sit down and strategically go through, see how the process is, and what can we change? I'm an agent of change, because I'm one of those that if it's not working, throw it out. When I went to school, we had to do research projects, and they take forever and forever. And then they came up with rapid change theory, where, you know what, it's not working, throw it out, get something better in there. And that's what I'm all in favor of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Education funding, or the shortfall of education funding, could never happen. The town would have to fund it, and that's why we do have a fund balance in case the Board of Education did not have the money. Matter of fact, that's what happened a couple of years ago when Dr. Compton first took over and our first business manager came in. We found out there was a shortfall, and what did we do? Dr. Compton and I sat down with the business manager, and we found a way to fix it, and we found a way to fix it in the next budget season, right? And that is what communication is all about. Our fund balance is very strong. We're above to where we need to be. As far as performances go, all our employees are pretty much, except for contract positions, in the union, and their contract, their raises are approved in their union contracts. I think it's AFSCME that they asked me for that they belong to.
Thank you.
Great, yeah, I mean, I was a union president, so I know how contracts work, but my point was more the performance of how people are doing. I've also been in leadership roles as both a manager, and I've also been over as a union president. So I know both sides of how we have to work together, but I think most employees, when you empower them with the tools to do the job right, they're gonna wanna do the job right. I'm one of those transformational leaders where I don't micromanage, but I'm gonna teach you how you can be the best employee out there. And I've had a proven track record. I've had staff that, were on the verge of being fired, and I brought them through where actually they came out with a master's and they started their own businesses. So I take the time, I have the patience, but I also have the resources to know what they need to do.
Thank you. Anything further?
Yes, we have a human resource director that sits down and they go over the performance reviews, and when there is an issue, he meets with the department head and the employees are spoken to and given the guidance that they need. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, now we're going to have the lightning round, some fun questions. We're going to ask both candidates, and we're going to start.
Fun, huh? Okay.
Okay.
First question I have, your favorite restaurant in Seymour?
That is so not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair.
That's not fair.
That's not a fair one.
I have so many favorite
Yeah.
restaurants.
We're sorry about that, but we have so many good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want an endorsement up here. I know.
Yeah.
That's where politicians can go,
What's your favorite vacation place?
I don't know. I have never taken a vacation except for 2020. That was my last vacation.
I've taken many vacations. I had that luxury. I've traveled lots of great places. One of the best ones was when I went cross country last year for about 6 weeks, and I got to see this wonderful country. So I'm just going to make it globally in the United States, because once you get out there and see all the things that we have, you're going to be blown away. So you got a lot of opportunity out there yet.
What topping would absolutely never belong on pizza?
Pineapple.
And I'm going to go with the pineapple, although probably one of these days somebody's going to put peanut butter on it, I'm sure. But pineapple.
What is your favorite song?
Starfish and jelly. It's a starfish and coffee by Prince, and it reminds me of my daughter.
Mm. Wow, that's another tough one. I'm going to say, because I heard this today, and I'm not going to get teary because I did that at home, when I had Alexa on, she played my parents' song, which was Nat King Cole, They Said We Were Too Young. And that's your research for tonight, kid. Go look up that song, and you'll see it.
What's your favorite Disney princess?
I'm going to go with Belle.
Cinderella.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. I make my daughter sit through it every year.
What's your favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? Favorite holiday's got to be Christmas for me. I just love it when everybody gets together. I love the music. I love the decorations. It's got to be Christmas.
Christmas.
Okay, thank you. Before we get to the final statements by the candidates, let's give our debate club a round of applause for doing an excellent job here this evening. Nice job. Great to work with. They were a lot of fun. We're getting ready for this. So the closing statement, we had to flip it a coin before, and Theresa had the opening statement, so we're going to start with First Selectman with the closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the debate team. You guys had some wonderful questions. The pizza question was kind of, no one likes pineapple. But I'm proud of our record that we've had here in Seymour. 30 new businesses that fit our town. Businesses have reinvested in themselves. Our roads are getting done. We are financially stronger than we were in 2020. I'm proud about that. I just went to this trick or trunk at the middle school, and I saw a little girl, and she says, "Do you know what I'm dressed like?" And I said, "No." She goes, "I'm you," and she pulls out her name tag. So that was an honor to me. I didn't know how to take it, but she's like, "No." She goes, "I adore you," and I was very honored about that. My proudest investment is also not just my record here, but the ability to be able to show my daughter that women can do anything that they set their mind to. And we had such a good role model with Anna LaPreste as our first select woman, female select woman. And no matter what you put your mind to, you can do. But I'm very proud of my accomplishments in this town, and I ask for your support come November 4th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The crowd's been very good tonight, so they can
Yes,
scream as much
right?
as they want now. Selectman Conroy.
Thank you. And for you students that are sitting right here, if you ever knew me back when I was your age, you would be floored by someone standing up here now. I was someone that couldn't get up and do any public speaking. To get up and read a poem in English, I shook, and the teacher would say, "Slow down," and make me start all over. Slow down, mister. It's a land of opportunity that you have when you're going to be coming out of this school. You're going to be awestruck by it. I am, as I said, a 5th generation. I now have 7 generations of Conroys in this town, which I'm proud of. Owen Conroy came to Seymour in 1852 with the Irish famine. And, we learned to pull up our bootstraps. My mother came from an orphanage, and I was always taught to help those that are less and need more from me. She said no one should ever go hungry in this town. And I believe in that. I'm a big supporter of all our food pantries. We can be doing better for our families. Economic development is the key #1 driver for this town that we have to focus on. And not only that, though, we have a beautiful library here, but it's getting kind of outdated. I do a lot of research, and I was up there looking through the old Evening Sentinel, and I had that microfilm reader that's probably from maybe the 70s, maybe the 80s, that I got so dizzy I had to sit down. We need updates at the library. It's a cornerstone for us. Same with the community center. I mean, if you go down there, I see Mary standing out there. What they've been doing for me, myself personally, is unbelievable. But we need to open that up to more residents so people can get there after school or after work. I have a vision for this town. You heard from both of us tonight. I am a go-getter. I have a lot of energy in me. I have a lot of vision. And I know how to plan and to reach those. I always fulfill my commitments. We might get diverted, but then we're going to find another way to do it. I never take no for an answer. It's like, why not? Let's go find out. I'm invested in this town. I've known where we've come from. I wrote a book on Seymour. I know the past history. I know where we are now. And I know our next chapter is going to be so much better. Because, let's face it, my favorite movie of all time had a line that said, "There's no place like home." Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First up is Drugonis, Selectman Conroy. We wish you the very best on November 4th. Please, everyone, get out and vote on November 4th. Thank you all for coming here this evening. I think it was a really good debate. Have a great evening. Get home safe. Thanks.
Our work here is done.